when I was a kid and I used to read the karate books, and they would have these different hand mudras, and then they have little arrows going in different directions. And I didn't quite understand what they were talking about, but later I really understood what they were really talking about. You want to push a feeling through your hand in that particular direction. So if you're making like a punch, what I'd like you to do, or making ski, you want to kind of squeeze your fist in an inflective way, where if it was viscous, you could push that whatever out between your first two knuckles. Like, how would you do that? Like, how could you grip your fist in a way where it kind of went that way? Do you follow what I'm saying? So it's not this inert club at the end, and it's really not even consistent in its grippiness. It has a particular inflection that goes a particular way. Now think about if you were not making tsuki and you were making tetsui, it actually has a different inflection. Do you follow what I'm saying? Like you kind of put your mind, it's very much like the Tai Chi people will talk about, like you put your mind on a particular place. We don't talk about that, but I think it's a worthy conversation. Like if I'm making tetsui, I'm thinking about a different sort of inflection in my fist. But to somebody that's untrained, it still just looks like a fist. But for you, it's way different. Do you follow? And if you're making uraken, think about if you're pushing out, like say uraken, like say you're doing tekikata, there's a different place where you put the inflection, right? I mean, you're kind of pushing it that way, you see? So here's the deal. You're going to create a driving movement, and then you're going to create an inflection that coincides with the culmination of that driving movement. So when you're making a punch, you're going to, like, at the very end of your punch, I'm going to go squeezing out the first two knuckles. Like that feeling. And one way to kind of get a sense of that is, we'll do this in a second with your partner, but you're just going to put your fist, I'm just going to borrow you for a second. You're just going to put your fist on your partner's sternum, okay, not down here on their xiphoid thing or their solar plexus, but up a little bit. You're going to put your fist here, you're going to stand with your feet shoulders width, like that. And what you're going to do is, you're just going to kind of grip, and you're going to kind of push your partner back with that kind of inflection. And I notice I'm not leaning into him. I'm actually going down. I'm going down. And like a lot of times people say, why does he make all that noise? I get that a lot. Some of the comments on it. So he makes a lot of noise when he does his karate. I'm not trying to make noise, but what I am trying to do is close off my throat, put my breath under some back pressure, press down on my diaphragm so I can connect this inflection with that inflection. So it's whole body moving. It's not my arm. It's like a wave. So you're going to do that. You're going to just push. Nothing on your behalf gives. You don't fall into him when he moves. You just press. You follow what I'm saying? To get that feeling of like crack at the end of your technique. Okay? Give it a try with a partner. Just explore that just a little bit. So again, think about this. Think about if you had no use of your arms, like somebody numbed your arms. How would you throw your movement just using your body? I think it's a really good way to kind of think about the essential core of the technique. You know, whatever I'm doing, like if I was doing a downward block and I wanted to make my arm go there, I'd have to kind of whip my body, and to stop it, I'd have to kind of pull my body back a little. You see that? You know, if I'm doing, you know, you see? I have no use of my arms. It's just this floppiness throwing everything. And later, floppiness is no longer floppiness. It's a juggernaut drive with that snap and compression feeling. So when you're doing the first move in the kata, like that downward block, or the knife hand block, or whatever, it's like super slow. Like I said, beginner would be step, turn, pull back. Later, going to be, I'm launching the block with this, but halfway through, I'm pulling it back for that. So it's like it's this. Now the two are hitting at the same time. But you almost don't see it because it's almost all really almost inside. Do you follow? But later just becomes kind of really connected to that. But at the end of it, it now has, so now you have all these kind of explosive dynamics that we would equate with our style, quintessentially our style, but then you have this heaviness at the end. Which is really interesting because it's almost like you're broadening the amplitude, like you have this very dynamic, explosive kind of thing, and then you have this almost soft, amorphic heaviness incorporated in it. Do you follow what I'm saying? I think you really, one of the ways, another provocation I would say is, how do you keep broadening the amplitude of your karate? So you're not always doing your karate in a particular way, but you're drawing in these other sensibilities, and like we talked about earlier, like body intelligences. So your martial arts starts to get a certain panorama. Does that make sense? So I make this sort of wave that goes through my body now. So even in the relaxedness, it's got now some compression, but super slow without the compression. It's just boom, heaviness, boom, heaviness, and then later the heaviness has like the connection. Make sense?
Wave, twitch, compression, heaviness,
all wrapped together. I'm sorry. Kick me out of it. But,
no, it all makes sense.
Yeah, and I can't say that I read it somewhere, or this is etched in stone, or this is a mantra of any particular style. I'm just trying to communicate just things that I've tried to explore on my own. And like I said earlier, if they make sense to you, then adopt them. If they don't, then please discard them. Just find how these things fit the motif of your karate. Okay.